We have voted repeatedly, over and over again, to reopen the government. We're here. Now we're on the Senate side.
That's right.
Now we're on the Senate side. We're roving out to the Senate side because the thing is, we went to his office in the Capitol. We went to his office here in the Russell Building. We went to the floor. He's not. We went to the cloakroom. He's not in the cloakroom. He's not in the Capitol. He's not in the Russell Building. He's not in the floor of the Senate. And 800,000 people don't have their paychecks. So where's Mitch?
Joining me now for more on Pelosi's decision and the impact of the shutdown, Democratic Congressman Dan Kildee of Michigan. Congressman, first, do you support the Speaker's disinvitation of the president?
Yes, I do. The president has to understand that there are consequences to his ignorant obstinance. The fact that he is willing to shut the government down, he made the decision to shut the government down, brings consequences. He can't be protected in his careful and comfortable little bubble and get to go on as if nothing is happening and cover the problem by buying a bunch of hamburgers. There are consequences to this shutdown, and they affect the American people. They're going to affect him as well.
The two most salient consequences, I think, in the political sense, and when I think about things that could break this stalemate, is air travel and tax refunds. My understanding is you've talked to air traffic controllers who are working right now managing the skies without a paycheck, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes, I met with them on Monday. These are the people who keep us safe when we fly. And they're professionals. They're working hard. They're showing up for work. It's an already very stressful job. And now we're asking them to carry the additional stress of leaving a home where they can't pay their mortgage or their rent, where they can't take care of their families, and then show up at work and protect us all. Now, they're doing it, but there's a breaking point for everyone.
What's the breaking point?
The breaking point is that there may be slowdowns. God help us, there could be something even worse than that. These services that governmental employees provide are really important and necessary services to maintain a civil society. The president needs to understand that. And the idea that he can act with impunity and then just take care of his own needs, meanwhile shutting down the government, threatening our economy, it's ridiculous. This is insane. He can open the government tomorrow. I don't blame him entirely, though, Chris. The United States Senate could take up legislation that itself passed just a few weeks ago that they thought was a good idea to open government and continue this debate over how we exercise border security. Why not do that? I blame the Senate. I blame those who are essentially handing over their responsibilities to the president. And Mitch McConnell has made Donald Trump the majority leader of the United States Senate. He can't even do the job he has, let alone do the job that Mitch is supposed to do.
I want to get your response to something that Robert Costa reported yesterday. He said, a couple senior Republican lawmakers tell me the only way this breaks open is if TSA employees stay home and Americans get furious about their flights. That's the only out, they say, and they're close to the White House. What do you make of that?
I think that's just insane that they would wait. That the idea is that something horrific has to happen before common sense prevails, and we just pass spending bills that open the government and let us continue to have a spirited debate on the issue of border security. If the president doesn't have the confidence in his own idea and his own argument to submit it to the democratic process, I don't know how we can expect this government to function. This is a really dangerous moment. This guy is off the rails.
Final question. You're on the Ways and Means Committee. My understanding was the IRS commissioner was going to come and testify. That was canceled today. Are there going to be delays in people getting their refunds, which strikes me as another very tangible and widespread effect that could change the calculus here?
There very well could be. I mean, obviously, this could have an impact on the entire tax season and the processing of those returns. But think about it. The president's conclusion, or his way to fix the problem, is to order 50,000 IRS workers to come back to work without pay instead of simply signaling to the Senate that he'll sign a bill to bring them back and let them do their jobs.
That's what happened,
and be paid for it.
You guys in the House did pass something to reopen the IRS, just the IRS specifically for this purpose. That has not been taken up by Mitch McConnell in the Senate. Instead, the executive branch, federal government, the president has ordered 50,000 IRS workers back without pay to process the refunds. Right.
So I say to Mitch McConnell, do your job.
Yeah.
I say to the president, do your job. If they did that, this would be a resolved question.
Congressman Dan Kildee, thanks for being with me. Now, one of the House Democratic freshmen who tried to track down Mitch McConnell today, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Democrat of Michigan. Congresswoman Kevin McCarthy said it is unbecoming of the Speaker for this modification to her invite. What do you think of that?
Look, I think the priority right now is the American people. You know, we're supposed to have an open, functional government. It's not even the workers. It's what the workers were doing for our residents back home. And it's absolutely our responsibility, and we have to lead with compassion. We have to focus on getting our government open and running. We don't have time for speeches. We don't have time for these kinds of events when we actually are in jeopardy of risking not only our public health, our environment, and so many things that are very much essential to our residents back home that need us to have a functional, working government that's working for all of us.
Here's a question for you. If it is that important to get the government back open, which Democrats seem to be making that argument more strenuously than Republicans and more strenuous than the White House, that doesn't really, frankly, seem to care, to be honest, is there a point at which it just becomes worth it to throw them some appropriations to get the thing back open?
Look, it's not about the wall. It's not about that. You can see that. This is the same bills that we passed before we took the majority in the House. These are the same exact bills that Senator McConnell and many of his colleagues supported. We have actually bipartisan support of what we passed. We even sent them an appropriations bill that just said we're going to open it up for 2 weeks, just so that the American workers, the workers that work for the federal government all across this nation, can actually get back up and running and get paid. We just don't want to negotiate in these terms. This is not the way to basically come in good faith and trying to, again, work for the American people. I can tell you, I went into McConnell's office today with my colleagues. It is very clear that they're hiding, that this is not about some sort of crisis. The only crisis that we have right now is the crisis that he created in shutting down our government.
What do you want to tell Mitch McConnell?
Look, you work for the American people, not the President of the United States. We need you to lead. We need you to do right for the people. This is so critical for us to understand. There are people getting evicted from HUD housing. We have, right now, I have one of the most polluted areas in Michigan, and we don't have EPA inspectors on the ground watching our air quality. It is important for us to understand, McConnell, lead for the American people. We don't need the President of the United States to sign this. You send this back, and let me tell you, in 10 days, it becomes a fact, and even if he tries to veto it, we can override it. Let's put people first before this president.
What has it been like to, this is your first few weeks in Congress. What a strange experience to come to Congress to inherit this situation. What has that been like?
This is not normal. I mean, you have right now constituents calling me, people that are trying to reach out to the SSA, my veterans who can't get deferment on loans because, again, nobody's there to pick up the phone. It is not normal. This is not the way to negotiate in any issues that you're trying to resolve. And the president knows this. He's being reckless.
Do you still think the president should be impeached?
Absolutely. Look, think about it. Today, just today, we found out that even though our national parks are closed, that the Trump Tower here in D.C., the Trump Hotel in D.C., is being staffed by the park rangers, despite the fact that we have no staffing, no parks open for the American people. And even today, the Inspector General said that the federal agencies were in violation of the United States Constitution by creating a lease agreement with the Trump organization. Look, this is leading continually on to know that there's a direct violation of the United States Constitution. Think about the precedent that we're setting, allowing a president of the United States not to divest in all of his corporations. He's making decisions based on profit, not based on what's the best interest of our people.
Final question. You are a state legislator. You're not a new hand in politics, yes, but you are new to Congress. You had that moment that was blown up into a full news cycle, and I just wonder what that experience was like, what your takeaway from being sort of under that microscope for that period was.
Well, look, I can tell you, I'm unapologetically authentic. I'm me. I'm a Muslim American woman, brown woman, that is living in the United States of America under his leadership. So I'm passionate. I'm passionate about making sure that we're following the values that I believe in of justice, equality, and freedom. And of course, my passion got the better of me. But I can tell you, more and more people around this country are with me and saying that we don't want to create this slippery slope of having a president that really is for the bottom line, for profit, and not for the people.
All right, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, thank you for making some time tonight.
Thank you so much.
For more